right, good evening, good evening, good evening. I hope everyone is well and good afternoon to those in the West Coast area. We are super excited to bring to you our Tiger Talk session all about academics. Get to know the Morehouse academic divisions and core classes. This is going to be an amazing opportunity for you to get to know what it is in terms of class structure and expectation in the process of doing what is necessary to be properly prepared to attend Morehouse College and the ideal of academics. All right. My name is Michael Gum. I serve as the Director of Admissions and Recruitment here at Morehouse College. I also have with us two amazing individuals who I can't even put in words all the greatness between the two of them. But what I can say, both have been influential to the students, to the staff, leading in many, many facet ways. And so first, I want to introduce one of our main presenters for tonight, Dr. Melvin Foster. Dr. Foster, at this time, can you just share a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what makes Morehouse special in your eyes?
Good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Mel Foster. I am the Associate Provost for Academic Success and also a host of other things. But close and dear to my heart is I'm also Associate Professor of Music, and this is my 29th year of teaching at Morehouse. And so for to think of something special about Morehouse, the thing that has kept me here for 29 years is that I fell in love with the idea of being a witness to Black excellence, to be able to see the light bulb come on, to watch a young man mature and transform from what he was when he came in as a high school student into being a Morehouse man. It's a beautiful thing. I'm happy to say I'm addicted to it. So it's my pleasure to be with you tonight.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And Dr. Foster, can you just tell us a little bit about what it is in terms of some of the other pieces that brought you to Morehouse?
Well, I mean, the things that brought me to Morehouse was I started off on my journey as an operatic singer, and I came here to teach voice. I was only going to be here for a short period of time before I would leave and go to Europe to launch a career. But those things changed when I encountered the students here and realized God had brought me here for a purpose. What I thought was going to be just a short visit has turned into a long-term stay. And so to be able to be on the ground to see wonderful talent. So this is not just talent as in music, but across the campus to meet these young men at the beginning of their journey and see them through. It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And super excited to, of course, have you, as well as our next amazing presenter, Dr. Adria Welcher, who serves as our Senior Director of General Education and is mighty in that as the Associate Professor of Sociology. Dr. Welcher, I want to turn it over to you to give greetings and to also talk a little bit about what brought you to Morehouse.
Well, hello, everybody. It is truly my pleasure to be with you to talk about what I think is sort of the lifeblood of what we do at Morehouse. This is where that conversion, that transition that Dr. Foster just spoke, this is where it happens in the core classes. So very, very excited to speak with you about general education. I am beginning my 11th year at Morehouse. So I have a little bit of time to catch up with Dr. Foster. But I will say, as a Spelman alum, I saw Morehouse's amazing powers many, many, many years ago. I shouldn't say too many minis. Let me pull back some of those minis. But several years ago, I saw the transformative power of Morehouse. I'm a Morehouse wife and very, very proud to be a Morehouse mom. So what Morehouse does with our young men is something that I have yet to see any other institution do. I can't even put fully to words what happens on this campus, but what I know is the investments that faculty, staff, and other students make into each other is something that you cannot get on other campuses. So I like to say that it's unmatched. The Morehouse experience is unmatched. And that's exactly what happens here. And part of it is certainly being in a space with others who are similarly situated, whether it be racially or class based, but also a huge part of it is what happens in the classrooms. So very excited to give some love and appreciation to our outstanding faculty and administration and staff as we pull together the academic experience that helps to shape the ways that our young men think and view the world. So I'll stop here because you're going to hear a lot more from me later, but I absolutely love being here in the work that we do. So thank you, Mr. Gum.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel that passion. And so we're going to keep that passion along and then move straight to the classroom conversation. So in this presentation, we plan to do a couple of things. First, I want to make sure you understand what is Morehouse, right? Morehouse, right? A lot of passion, a lot of thrill. For over 150 plus years, we prepared in that mission to develop men with disciplined minds who would lead lives of leadership and service. So for us, it's not just about going to college and choosing an institution. It's about getting a chance to know who you are so that then you can define yourself, so then you can redefine the world. And part of that focus and that mission is that we're making individuals who are social justice focused while ensuring that they understand that there's an outcome and an expectation that they're going to come back and bring somebody else up, right? It's the whole version of the Sankofa experience, but we want to make sure that guys are involved with understanding in that dynamic. How do we begin to nurture? How do we begin to develop? And how do we begin to build the legacy of tomorrow? And so Morehouse is a small private liberal arts college, the only one of its kind, and Dr. Welcher mentioned about that we're only made up of men. And with that ideal comes that expectation that you're going to strive to do so well that no man living, no man yet to be born, or no man yet to be born can do it better, right? And so that striving, that excellence is all about the mission of the college. So in this session, we plan to do and cover a couple of major topics. The first one is liberal arts education at Morehouse, right? So we're going to kind of explore, like, what is a liberal arts education? Why is liberal arts important? Then we're going to get right into the thematic areas, and Dr. Welcher is going to just really, go into detail these aspects of what makes our program unique and how do we begin to look at what are the expectations. For Morehouse and being a liberal arts college, you have to have a sense of core classes and major classes. And so we're going to get into what are those core classes and how do we ensure that everyone is properly prepared to do well, which then opens us back up to allow Dr. Foster to give that sort of brass approach, right, into the actual divisions to then say, okay, I want to declare X major, but now how does that major sync up to the division such that then that liberal arts setting is met? And so we're going to talk all through these topics. We're super excited to have you on. At this time, we need you to bring a pen and paper. And before we get to this next slide, you all need to be writing these things down. Okay. So without further ado, I want to turn it over to our amazing presenters who's going to take it from here.
So what is liberal arts education in Morehouse? So for me, really, the liberal arts education at Morehouse is it's a broad-based education, which exposes a student to a breadth of knowledge, and that knowledge becomes the foundation for what they will do at the college and be able to carry forth beyond their years with us. As stated here on the slide, the liberal arts model is based on a philosophy that emphasizes breadth over depth. And so, that's our goal here, is to expose a student to various ways of thinking and solving problems, as well as having an experience with different qualities of life, values of different people, exploration of other cultures, And part of that is a language study as well. That's one of the things I like most about the Morehouse experience because there's internationalization that leads us along the path of being a global citizen.
So I will pick it up from here to talk specifically about how we do liberal arts at Morehouse. And what you see on the screen in front of you is the sort of mission statement, what our general education program is. So you may hear gen ed, general education, core classes. This is the component of our curriculum at Morehouse that all students are required to complete. And I'll go through sort of how we break it up, what parts matter, but at the end of the day, our goal is to ensure that our Morehouse students are grounded in African and African diasporic heritage while understanding that they've integrated knowledge and skills from both their academic and co-curricular experiences. So it's not just what happens in the classroom, it's blending that with what happens outside of the classroom as well. We believe that students have to be active participants in their own learning. So this is not us doing this for them. This is not mom or dad doing it for them. It's them finding their voice, finding their ways of thinking, their thought patterns. We think it's critically important, as has been highlighted already this evening, to circle back to not just getting your education for yourself, but understanding that your education is meaningful for those around you. So we emphasize social justice, equity, and protest. And in times like these, we want our students to be able to find their voice. One way that we do that is by steeping our curriculum, our general education curriculum specifically, in text, examples, perspectives, and principles by and from Black people across time, from Africa as well as the diaspora. And when we speak of the African diaspora, we're referring to the dispersal of African peoples all over the world. So, of course, we understand that human life was created in Africa. But the ways, and I'm not going to go too sociological on, you have to take my class to do that, right? But the ways that our society has engaged race, the ways that color matters, we want to emphasize that our Black history, our Black narrative from Africa and the dispersal of African peoples throughout the world is meaningful and significant. And we want our young men to be able to articulate that, to be able to understand it, and importantly, to be able to integrate that into what they do in their adult lives beyond school. Again, we've talked about the breadth of learning. Dr. Foster did a wonderful job of highlighting how the intersections of all these classes matter. And then most importantly, what you learn in your general education curriculum in Morehouse is a starting point for the work that you will do over the rest of your life. So it's not just about what you do in these 4 years, but what you will do until you finish your journey on this side. So the ways that we get to this Gen Ed credit hour tally, just for information, I think you all were told to get your notepads and pens and paper. 120 credit hours are required to earn a degree from Morehouse College. Of that 120, from 32 to as many as 49 are required for your general education curriculum. So as you see, that leaves a lot of room to explore your major, your double major, your major and your minor, your major and your double minors. There's room for exploration, but we want to situate our students into this is how we start. So the Gen Ed curriculum helps them begin to think of how do these things integrate, right? How do my philosophy and my mathematics classes complement each other? How does my music class, my music appreciation class matter for my chemistry class, right? All of these things are connected. So what you see on the screen is on the low end, depending on how a student places, once they apply to Morehouse or accepted, there's placement exams for several of the courses, as well as dual enrollment credits, right? So there are several ways that we receive students. So depending on what they bring and where they test will determine if they're on the low end or if they're on the high end. And I'll talk a little bit more about the requirements for each of these majors, but just so you know, 120 credit hours to earn the degree, 32 to 49 will be general education credit hours. So the way that our Gen Ed program is structured is we have learning outcomes, and they're loosely prescribed in these sort of 6 areas, and I'll get into the specifics of how we actually execute them. But our philosophy is that our students should be able to demonstrate integrative learning in Black life, history, and culture. So, again, the intersection of what it means to be a Black person in this space and in this time, right? To bring to bear our history, to bring to bear our culture, and to integrate our future. We think that all Morehouse men, I'm sure several of you have heard the quote, you can always tell a Morehouse man, but you can't tell him much. So we want that communication that we get from our Morehouse men to be effective. So we spend intentional time in understanding what effective communication looks like. And for those of you who have our tech, I'm going to say tech savvy. I'm going to use it loosely, but our young men who are all in social media. I don't know how you all are, but my children, they send me texts. It's not even words, right? So help them to understand, how do we code switch, right? How do you send a text to your friend where they can understand what these acronyms mean? And then how do you write an email where you use full words and appropriate punctuation? So we spend time focusing on how to communicate effectively. It is critically important that our young men are able to practice ethical leadership and has been referenced global citizenship. We want them to be able to identify, explore, and solve problems. So this often we get to in our STEM classes. I'm trying not to get too far ahead of myself, but I love this stuff. We also want to be able, again, to demonstrate the breadth and integration of learning, right? How does knowing a lot, a little about a lot, knowing how the a lot connects to the part that you know very, very well, and how you can just know enough to be able to engage intelligently, right? That's the breadth and integration of learning. And then critically importantly, for our specific population, we want our young men to be able to engage identity and equity, right? Know who you are. Understand equity, which is different from equality, right? Equity. How do we ensure that everybody gets the best shot based on what they need and what they have? And what is our role in ensuring that they receive that? So our three primary categories for our general education are our core skills, our thematic areas, and then what I love to call the bread and butter of Morehouse College, our first year experience. So as we look at our core skills, these are sort of those big 6 boxes that I talked about earlier. So let's get into it. So our first area of core skills is this notion of communicating effectively. So it's both in words and speech as well as through writing. So we have our young men to write. They're required to take several English courses, again, depending on where they place. And the expectation is that in these courses, they will learn how to write, how to communicate through writing in ways that other people who may not understand the acronyms can understand. We also require competency up to at least 3 semesters in world languages and culture. So we often refer to those as modern foreign languages. At Morehouse, it's about more than just understanding the language. It's about understanding the culture, right? How do folks who speak Portuguese, what do their weekends look like? How do they experience film? Right? In Brazil, where they speak Portuguese. So you see the languages that we offer at Morehouse: Chinese, Spanish, Portuguese, French, and German. And then we have Japanese and Latin, and also American Sign Language at Spelman. So these are ways that we ensure that when you're talking to a Morehouse man and you can't tell him much, that what he's saying is significant. We also think that being able to communicate and interpret mathematical and quantitative literacy matter. So our students are required to take 3 credit hours above college algebra, and this is regardless of major. So every student at Morehouse College, regardless of their major, will be able to communicate concisely, and coherently, quantitatively. So when numbers are thrown at them, they won't be intimidated, they won't back down. They'll be able to engage them and use the tools of math to communicate effectively quantitatively. Similarly, the stat that causes me great trouble is how many of our young men, young Black men, struggle with mental health. So when we discuss health and wellness at Morehouse, it's not just about physical activity, not at all to minimize physical activity because that's important. But with most of our students, if you say golf or swimming or basketball, they're all in. But we need our young men to understand wellness. Wellness has 7 dimensions: Physical is just one of those dimensions. So, in addition to being required to take a physical activity course, they're also required to take a wellness for life course that explores the other dimensions of wellness. So, we have the physical, spiritual, intellectual, emotional, environmental, occupational, and social. And it is our hope that what we pour into them in this general education curriculum follows them over the course of their lives. They share it with their communities and their families. So, as a general community, we are much healthier and we understand that all of these dimensions play together and play upon each other, and none of them is more necessarily important than the other. Now we move into our thematic areas. There are 4 thematic areas, and these areas are arts and literature, ideas and ethics, society and culture, and scientific discovery. So we've spent the time understanding the core skills communication, right? And we've talked about the 4 areas that we communicate. Now we're getting into the thematic areas. And what is special about these is that all of these, again, focus on those initial 5 sort of mission statements, if you will, of our gen ed curriculum. So looking at arts and literature, again, we want our young men to be able to communicate effectively about literature and to identify artistic, cultural, and literary traditions and movements. So they're required to take 1 course in the art and literature area. So as you see listed here, that can be an art course, a music course, some of our English courses, our world languages and culture courses, even some of our psychology courses. So what's significant about the way that we do thematic areas is they're not discipline based. It's about the learning outcomes in those courses. So any courses in any sort of disciplinary area that focuses on these 5 bullets that you see, communicating effectively, identifying artistic, cultural, literary traditions, and so on, can offer a course that meets the arts and literature requirement. That leads to the breadth. So you can take an English course that communicates what we believe matters about arts and literature. And look at the breadth of music courses. Our art courses, our music courses, all of our faculty are just phenomenal. So you can't go wrong with any of our arts and literature options. Our next thematic area looks at ideas and ethics. So, when we lean on the history of Morehouse College, we look at the importance of social responsibility, social justice, and ethical leadership. And we have a bevy of outstanding Morehouse graduates, Morehouse faculty, Morehouse scholars who have engaged these things in ways that we can't even capture. If we were to sit here and talk for another 4 hours, we wouldn't be able to even summarize what we've done in this area. So what's very, very important is that we need our young men to be proficient in understanding the philosophical, religious, and ethical reasoning. So we require them to take 2 courses. And again, these courses are not specific to a discipline, but of course our religion and philosophy courses fall in here, as well as our leadership studies, an English course, and even a political science course focusing on political theory. This is the area, ideas and ethics. 2 courses are required. Our third thematic area, and one to which I am particularly partial, is society and culture. So as a sociology professor, it is so important for our students to be able to communicate effectively about the social world, to understand people, how people interact, social relations and politics, and these other 2 bullets. There are several course areas that meet our society and culture requirement. The 2 that I'd like to highlight are our business administration course and our economics course. So of course, our sociology, urban studies, political science, those may not surprise you that they're society and culture. But our business administration faculty offer a Black entrepreneurship history course. You don't get that anywhere else except at Morehouse College. So through Black entrepreneurship history, we're able to engage society and culture, and that counts. Likewise, through macro and microeconomics, we engage society. It's not just about the numbers. It's not just about accounting. It's not just about a balance sheet. It's about how does this matter for society. So 2 courses are required in society and culture. And our final thematic area is scientific discovery. And scientific discovery is where we implore upon our young men how they can communicate scientific findings. This is where they ask questions and learn how to find answers, right? And they do it using the natural world, using raw data, solving real world problems. They're required to take 2 courses in 2 different scientific disciplines. So as you see, we offer courses in biology, in chemistry, and physical science, and we're hopeful to continue to expand this as we have other disciplines that are able to speak to scientific discovery. So we've covered our core skills, we've covered our thematic areas, and now we're moving into what I refer to as the bread and butter, our first year experience courses. So our first year experience courses include both a service learning component and focusing on Black life, history, and culture. So you'll see the courses that are listed here. I'm not going to talk about them because, again, all of these courses are fantastic because they all emphasize Black life, history, and culture, as well as the thematic areas that we highlighted as we talked about the 4 thematic areas. They also include service learning, and the service learning is the link to why what we do in school matters. Why is what I'm learning relevant to broader society? Well, our students in their first year experience courses, 2 of which are required, I would add, for our students. They're required to take 2 of these FYE courses. Each of them will have a service learning aspect, whether that is planning a conference, right? We've had students to plan conferences. We've had students to present booklets, to analyze text, provide summaries for other groups. All of these things are examples of service learning where our students see the impact. They see the connection of what's happening in the classroom to what happens outside of the classroom. And again, all of these courses focus on Black life, history, and culture. One additional unique offering that Morehouse has is Crown Forum. And most schools have a freshman orientation, but not quite like ours. And what Crown Forum is an opportunity for our campus community to come together to engage ideas. And so we'll bring in speakers, and those could be speakers at Morehouse, those could be speakers in society. Those could be, we even have our SGA who host a Crown Forum where they engage ideas that are relevant to our campus community. So not just our students, but our faculty, our staff, our administration, and students are required to do 6 semesters of Crown Forums. And so every Thursday and there are additional opportunities. Students are able to just come and engage intellectual ideas, to be intellectually stimulated. That is something that we often don't see in other aspects of society. And then they're able to engage in conversations with their classmates, with faculty and staff. So this is the general education curriculum in a nutshell. I will hand the microphone back to my colleague, Dr. Foster, to talk about ways that we ensure our students are successful.
Merci beaucoup, Professor Welcher. So the other aspect of my delight of being a professor at Morehouse is being able to provide services which help students be successful. Yes, we want you to come to Morehouse and enjoy the social atmosphere that Morehouse has to offer here in the Atlanta University Center. But the only way in which you become a Morehouse man is to actually graduate. And to do that, you have to do well in your classes. And so we offer several support areas. Tutoring is one. We do virtual tutoring as well as in-person tutoring. This is offered through our Frederick Douglass Academic Success Center. We have success skills workshops, things like time management and understanding how to take notes effectively are covered in those success skill workshops, or other things that are covered as well. Study hall. This is a great space. If one doesn't have time to make the trip over to the Atlanta University Center's Woodruff Library, then Frederick Douglass has study spaces that are available for individual students as well as small groups. And then we have the Writing Center, where there's tutoring there for writing, and they're there to help you with each step of the writing process. No, they're not going to write the paper for you, but as you move through the process of creating your paper, they will provide you with feedback to help you develop a paper of quality. Our additional services are academic coaching. We are very fortunate to be able to offer academic coaching. And so we have two academic coaches, one for freshmen and special groups on campus, like first gen students or Pell eligible students, as well as for the upperclassmen. We also have executive function coaching. This is a newly added role to the college, and this is to help students who might be experiencing ADHD or ADD. This person helps them to create a schedule of accountability and keeps them on track for completing tasks. That role is connected to our Office of Educational Accessibility Services. And this office is dedicated to providing ADA accommodations for those students who have been assessed, formally assessed, and provide the necessary documentation to receive those services. So if you previously had an IEP in K through 12, then you would be a prime candidate for enjoying those services. However, I will say to you that even if you've not been tested in K through 12, you can be tested as a college student and still receive those services. That office is run by Dr. Travis Sadler. Slight typo here. This is the next person is Mr. Ilya Davis. He is our director of freshman and senior programs. Professor Davis is a longtime staff faculty member at the college who develops incredible relationships with our students. He is the person who teaches our freshman orientation course, and he also helps to guide our seniors in their last year of matriculation. Dr. Natasha Crosby is our director for divisional advising. And so at Morehouse, all of our first year students are advised, academically advised, by professional advisors. And once they become sophomores, they are transitioned to their departments that they have their major in, and they are assigned a faculty advisor. And that faculty advisor will remain with them until they walk across the stage as Morehouse men. Dr. Derek Bryan is our director for the Frederick Douglass Academic Success Center. And so he happens to also be an associate professor of sociology here at the college and an alum. Dr. Nathaniel Normant is our director of the Writing Center. Dr. Eudlyn Renard is our athletic academic advisor. So she's the person, if you're an athlete, she will work with you to make sure that your level of enrollment remains in compliance with NCAA standards, as well as a host of other resources that she provides our athletes. Dr. Tanya Clark is the manager of our Starfish Student Success software. And this is a software that we use, one is a centrally located filing system for all of our students. It is also our one-stop shop for all of our academic resources, as well as some of our student support services. Now our academic divisions. The college has 4 divisions. The first here is business and economics. Here you can see that the majors, there's 2 majors. Business administration is the major, and then there are 4 concentrations: accounting, finance, management, and marketing. The division of business and econ is our largest division because it has the most majors in it. The economics major also has, I think it has 2 concentrations. One is a math option and one is a non-math option. And those are discussions you can have if you choose economics as your major with your advisor to determine which path you will be taking. Next is humanities, social sciences, media, and arts. This is a division that is close to Dr. Welter's and my Hearts. We're both in this division. And so this is, in terms of majors, this is our largest division for the offering of majors. And so I'm going to take the time, because this is near and dear to my heart, I'm going to take the time to read these. So this is Africana Studies, Art History, Cinema, Television, and Emerging Media Studies, Communication Studies, Dance, English, History, Journalism and Sports, Social Justice and Culture. That's one major. Modern Foreign, this is actually, we have a new name, World Languages and Culture is the new name for Modern Foreign Languages. Chinese Studies, French, Spanish, Music, Philosophy, Religion, Political Science, Sociology, Theater and Performance. And our next division is the STEM division. So that's Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. The majors here are biology, chemistry, computer science, kinesiology, mathematics, physics, psychology, software engineering. So do note that our dual degree engineering program is also part of this division. And there's a host of programs and different opportunities within the division if you are a STEM major that lead to different career tracks as well. And that's to be said of each one of those majors. And our last division is Professional and Continuing Studies. And so in this division, we have two majors and our Morehouse online program. And so education is one of the majors here. And then also kinesiology, sports studies, and physical education is the second major. And then we also offer our Morehouse online, which is for our non-traditional students. So that is not a program that is applicable for our traditional first-time students.
It's awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, and we are about to get ready for Q&A because this has been phenomenal. And I know you all have questions, so go ahead and take this time in the Q&A and put your questions in there as I talk to you all about an amazing upcoming information session where we get a chance to talk about Spell House. So shout outs to Dr. Welcher, Spelman alumna, and as well as myself, Morehouse man. This is the joint info session that Morehouse and Spelman admission office is doing together right here on September 10th, tomorrow from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. in the amazing city of Los Angeles, state of California. We will be having an opportunity to talk to you about what does it mean to be a Morehouse man? What does it mean to be a Spelman woman or a Spelman knight, we like to say? And what are some of the most amazing things you need to do to prepare for the admissions process? So we're going to go into detail with that. Our Associate Director Alvin Conte will be on the grounds with Dr. Chelsea Holly, the Director of Admissions at Spelman College. And so two phenomenal leaders in the Office of Admissions will be there. So this is a chance to meet with them, greet with them, and engage with them the best way we know how. So we look forward to seeing you all there for this amazing info session for LA. Followed by that, we have our our DMV session, as well as our NYC or New York session. So these QR codes are definitely live. Please, please, please sign up. September the 21st, we'll be at Riverdale Country School. And then from there on October the 2nd, we'll be at Episcopal High School there in Virginia. Again, 3 opportunities. We're coming to your cities with our amazing staff to come and talk to you about the admissions process. All families are welcome, but you have to register to be in attendance. Shout out to Spell House. At this point, we will turn it over, right? Let's go. We'll turn it over and have our Q&A session. So Again, at this time, we would want to pose all questions. Oh man, they are coming with me. All right, so all right, so actually, before we go into the Q&A, we definitely want to talk about our amazing open house. Our open house will be on Friday, October the 24th. This is a chance to kick the dirt, see the players, find out other individuals, meet with Dr. Foster, meet with a Dr. Welcher, and be able to really witness the qualities of coming to Morehouse. We want to be able to build with you. We want to be able to engage with you. All the programs, focuses that we talked about, you'll be able to become a part of. We also plan to get you a campus tour for those who have not toured Morehouse. Please, please, please come see us. Our open house again will be Friday, October the 24th. You do have to register, so that QR code that you see there, you can find it there. You can also go to our Morehouse website and actually go to morehouse.edu/open house. So let's make sure we do that so we're properly prepared. And there's some stuff coming in the chat about our open house and our links there. At this time, we will have our Q&A. Super excited to go ahead and kick this off. And so the first question that has come up to us is a question really talking about two aspects that we didn't talk about in this session, which is our dual enrollment. So there's a question is, will you be able, or will we be talking about dual enrollment credits and how they transfer? I'll kick it off with admissions, and then Dr. Welcher, I'll lean on you to kind of talk about how we look at actually course substitution. And Dr. Foster, you could also talk through that. So I know in the admissions process, we have to have your college transcript. From there, we'll evaluate your evaluate your transcript to see if those classes are then transferable. Typically, students that are dual enrolled will have to provide that high school transcript and their college transcript. And from there, we'll be able to see what those classes look like, see what actual grade letter or grade number you received in that course. And then we will then do what is called an equivalency transfer tool that would allow for you to then be able to see if that class is transferable or not. Dr. Welcher, I know you see a lot of that in your first year experience students. We, on the admissions side, love dual enrolled students because it means that you could take on some academic rigor. And on the collegiate side, it allows for us to kind of set you a little apart. So, Dr. Welcher, I'll turn it over to you, and then Dr. Foster to follow up with that.
Absolutely. So, as has been stated, typically the way that we engage dual enrollment credits is we do appreciate students who are enthusiastic about taking more rigorous courses. Department chairs look at the courses that are submitted and determine the equivalency. So in some cases, you will receive credit. In some cases, you will not. Because what we offer at Morehouse may be different from your local community college or wherever you may have taken your dual enrollment credits. And so I do want to caution parents. I understand the cost-saving appeal to dual enrollment credits, but sometimes the rigor of those courses does not align with the rigor of our courses. So you just want to be mindful that if you come in with English 101 and 102, which means that you've met the requirement for our gen ed curriculum and you don't take another English course, when you take my sociology class or Professor Gum's sociology class, we may be a little harder on you in terms of our expectations of where you should be in your ability to communicate effectively through writing. So that's how the process works. Department chairs are able to assess the equivalency. In some cases, you will receive credit. In some cases, you will not. But regardless, if you've taken a course, sometimes it's worthwhile to consider repeating the course, or certainly utilize the academic success tools that Dr. Foster mentioned earlier to ensure that you are equipped to be successful at Morehouse. Dr. Foster?
Yeah, I just echo the same sentiments. It is greatly important to realize that this is an education that has no equal. And so where it is, I believe, a sense of personal pride to have completed a certain number of dual enrollment credits prior to coming to Morehouse, I want you to really think about what it is you're doing by taking those courses. Ideally, at least I think from the parents' point of view, you're thinking, okay, this means this is going to be a shorter time at Morehouse. So just bear this in mind. We have a curriculum that is set. So none of the courses you take as dual enrollment likely will be accepted for any of the courses in a major. So you're still going to have anywhere from 45 to 60 credit hours are still going to be needed for the major. And when you look at our general education, you just heard Dr. Welter speak so wonderfully about our general education plan. There are courses that are very unique. And so there's only so many hours that you will be allowed to substitute in. Yes, we will accept your dual enrollment hours as free elective hours, which will help you get to the 120 that you will need to graduate from Morehouse. But in terms of substituting out required courses, I'm not sure if that's a goal. I'm not sure that we'll be able to meet that goal. But as Mr. Gum said, it does reflect a certain level of rigor that you are able to handle. And so, no two high schools are the same, no two colleges are the same. We do look at those college level courses as an indicator of college success.
It's a great point. Great point. And thank you both for that. There's also questions about submitting their application. So this one says, I submitted my early decision application last month, and I'm very excited about the possibility of joining the Morehouse community. Yes, right. Let's just stop right there. As someone who wants to maximize my academic journey, it's that rigor part. What unique opportunities does Morehouse offer for students to connect their classroom learning with real world applications, especially in areas like research, internships, or partnerships with Atlanta's business communities? What a loaded question. So I would just kind of break that down into sort of a two-part, right? So the first part of that being, what way can I maximize my academic journey, right? So what is it that Morehouse offers that allows for me to kind of be on that track towards internship? And then follow from that, what type of preparedness, right? And I think about Doug Cooper's area, right? In terms of the outcome, can we anticipate from that expectation? Mm-hmm. So Dr. Welcher, and then I think Dr. Foster, that end part.
Okay, absolutely. So I will start with, how do you maximize your academic journey? You go all in. So it is our expectation that the standard will be met. We set the bar, we know you will achieve it. To maximize your journey, you want to exceed it. So don't aim for the lowest common denominator. Don't do just enough. Always do more. Take classes that interest you. Find your passion. Pursue your passion. So even if you have a career that you want to be a physician, that's great. Sociology is on the MCAT. It's in several places on the, and I'm sorry to keep hyping sociology, but I'm very clearly biased. So sorry, not sorry, right? But sociology is on the MCAT. So take several sociology classes, right? As well as you're mastering your biology classes and your chemistry classes, figure out, how do you think sociologically, right? So that when all these forces come to fore, whether on the MCAT, in med school, or professionally, you're able to speak intelligently about all of those things. So that's how you maximize your academic journey. Now, this second piece, Morehouse sets you up to be extremely successful in connecting your classroom to your real world experiences. So, and I may say the title of the office wrong, so Dr. Foster, I'll allow you to correct me, but our career services program is bar none. We have very large career fairs every semester where companies from around the world come to recruit Morehouse students. We have majors that offer internship courses, sociology being one of them, where we partner our students. I know I just got one more in there, where we partner our students with Atlanta businesses. We have a relationship with, say, the Fulton County Courthouse, so you can work with the district attorney, or you can work with various camp programs. To whatever your interest is, we have relationships that allow you to partner with them. And even we have some instances where we bring career folks from across the Atlanta business community into the classrooms, right? So they may be an adjunct professor, they may just show up as a guest lecturer, but it gives our students the opportunity, if they're maximizing that academic experience, to really talk to folks about their work. What is it that you do? How do I best prepare or equip myself to do it? And can you help me do it? And so we have several opportunities that allow you to do that. And I do, again, want to highlight our career services program. just visit their website, type in Morehouse College Career Services, and you will be wowed with all of the wonderful things that they're doing. So I'll hand it over to you, Dr. Foster.
Yeah, so I'll just say one, yes, do all those things she said. I'll say start with a plan though. Start with a plan. Start with a plan that incorporates having a minor or a double major, right? Don't think to yourself, you know what? I'm just going to do general education, do my major, and I'm out. No. Come here with the expectation that you're going to go all in. When you pay full price for a semester, you pay for 12 credit hours. Actually, you pay for 12 to 18. And so when you maximize, when you start to think, okay, well, I did these dual enrollment credits, so I know I can handle the rigor and I can handle managing my schedule. So why not take 6 courses in a semester, right? Instead of just 5. Take 6. Do that each semester. Find a way to look at pursuing your passion. Look at the minors that we offer on campus and begin to connect a way in your major to the minor. Like make it make sense. Don't just choose something random. Make it make sense. And then I'll say augment the entire experience by doing study abroad. Planning on doing study abroad. Go someplace in the world that you've never been before that's connected to an academic program and have an experience of a lifetime. I can't tell you how many countless times. We're having the International Education Symposium tomorrow on our campus. So if you're close by and you want to come by and see and bear witness to the testimonies, come by. You're going to hear testimonies of students talking about how their lives have literally been changed by what they saw, what they heard, and what they experienced. Because now they have a different appreciation for the quality of life that they have here in America. And they are energized toward a social justice cause that takes them across oceans. So to me, if you want to really go all in and talk about how to maximize a Morehouse education, you make a plan. You make a plan to do it all. But don't come here and just go splat, right? Don't do that. Don't do that. Trying to do everything at once. Make a plan and think it through. That way you can spend your time wisely.
Yeah, that's excellent. Man, like these are jewels. Like I hope y'all writing this down. We said it right, right? Well read, well spoken, well traveled, well balanced, and well dressed. And I put emphasis on well balanced. If you got the rigor to do 6, do 6. If you know you can do 4 to 5, then just stay with 4 to 5. But you need to know your schedule and what you can do because it does make an impact and make a difference. We're definitely super excited. What I want to do is I want to move with 2 questions directly for Dr. Welcher because Dr. Welcher has another engagement that we need to make sure she's able to get to. And then Dr. Foster, it'll be kind of like a brotherhood opportunity to then answer all the rest of the questions that all came in for Dr. Welcher. I'm playing. What I will say to Dr. Welcher, this question is specifically for you. In your focus, right, are there any programs associated with AI? And so I think about those first year experiences. This is question number 7 and question number 6 that kind of came in that I'm combining as 2. And then are there a number of schools that offer some type of programs in this area, right? And so just from your lens of looking at the FYEs to looking at a lot of those thematic courses, are there ones that allow for that amazing AI experience to be a part of the curriculum?
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that someone asked that question. It actually came up in our faculty meeting earlier today, right, Dr. Foster? So let me start by saying, remember Morehouse is a part of the Atlanta University Center. And the Atlanta University Center has a data science center. So we are always on the forefront of thinking through how do we introduce, expose, and ensure that not just our students, but our faculty also are on top of the data science innovation that's happening. So that's happening across the Atlanta University Center, right? So that would be Spelman, Morehouse, Clark Atlanta University. We're watching how all these things are working together. Now, we have the good fortune of having a program called Morehouse in the Metaverse. And Dr. Morris, who's one of our outstanding faculty members, has just been on the forefront of the innovation. She brought us what are they? The Oculus goggles. I remember in my training, I was running into walls trying to figure out, what my avatar was doing and all these sorts of things. So we actually offer students the opportunity. You should have seen me, Dr. Foster. We actually offer students the opportunities to understand how sort of data science and AI works. So that's happening in our classroom. So several of our first year experience courses, in one of the sociology courses that I offered with her as a chemistry professor, we had our students go to different places in their Oculus lenses. So that's one piece of AI that we don't often think about. Typically, when we go to AI, we jump to Chat GPT, which I'm circling around to. I'm coming to that last. But I want to let you all know that we are not naive in understanding where the world is headed. So we're a part of those conversations. We're participating in those conferences. And Dr. Morris, who is the founder, I think is how she described it today, and the chair of our Morehouse in the Metaverse program, continues to push us into conversation. So she is literally at all the conferences doing all the things, being recognized as a leader in this area. Now, as we look at AI as it relates to more sort of the Chat GPT, the things that we're most familiar with, we are figuring out as faculty not how we back away from AI, but how we incorporate it into our curriculum. So we understand, and I think folks have said things like, well, if you run from AI, you're not going to have a job, right? Like AI is here and it's here to stay. So what we're doing is we have a college-wide policy about use of AI. And so faculty are able to determine if they want you to go all in students with AI, if we're doing some moderate AI exposure, or if we're not doing AI in this course because I need you to be able to figure out your own words, your own ways of thinking. And what we're being trained on as faculty and this is sort of in lifetime, like this is an evolving area, which is why I'm answering it in this way. What we're being trained to do as faculty is to help our students learn how AI is a tool. It's not the problem solver for you. You are the problem solver. You use AI to equip you to more efficiently and effectively solve the problem. So we're teaching them how to train the AI to understand their voice, their sound, to not just when you type in a response, don't just go to Google because AI is sometimes wrong because it may not have been trained correctly. And also, and I would argue quite importantly, how to cross-check the information that you receive from AI. So it's an evolving area. I can't say that we have any sort of AI majors, but across our curriculum, we are engaging AI, we're engaging the metaverse, we're figuring out where Morehouse fits in this new, I don't want to say improve, but just this new way of learning, this new way of understanding the world. So we're in the conversation. And if you were to ask this in a year, hopefully we'd have more examples to give, but that's sort of where we are. So I'll hand it back for any additional sort of comments on that.
So I'll just add to that, Dr. Welter, that I think in computer science, there is a data analytics minor.
That's right.
And I think software engineering with Dr. Gaucher and his Center for Broadening Participation in Computers, is that right? Computers? It's and computing, broadening, that's what it is, and computing. That would be the space where students could really go all in with AI under the auspices of that center. Yes, I think it is. I think it's really important to frame how a student should think about AI. And it truly is, as you said, that it's a tool. It does not replace the need for deep critical thinking. Again, having an appreciation, just as we described about our general education program, it doesn't replace that, right? We're talking about we want you to be super citizens of the world. You can't be a super citizen of the world if you rely on technology to do your thinking for you, right? It's a tool. We'll use it just like we use the calculator for, right? Right? You still know how to do mathematics, but if you're going to do complex problems that you want to do quickly, all right, then you use the tool to do the complex problem. But you still need to be able to understand how to speak about what that data says, what that narrative is going to be, and speak to the problem that you're solving with the interests of the people you're trying to help in mind. That is a different kind of expression of human experience Note human experience, not artificial experience. Human. And that's what we're about.
Spoken like a true humanitarian, which I am so for. And so thank you both. And that brings us to this amazing question, Doc. And then I'm gonna let you part with words to our team. Um, how flexible is the process for changing majors at Morehouse College? And how early should a student decide on a major? Dr. Foster, I also look at you with that hat of retention to kind of throw it to you as well. So, Dr. Welcher, that question, when should a student declare their major?
So that's a really an individualized question. So it depends on the individual student. I don't think students need to feel pressure to come into college with a major because everybody will have to do the gen ed curriculum. So my recommendation to students who may be undecided or maybe waffling or who come in with 10 toes down, like I'm going to be this type of major, take your gen ed courses. Explore different disciplines. Explore different ways of thinking, being, and knowing, and you may find out that something aligns with you differently. You might get a spark because you never took that class in high school. You never knew that that was even a discipline, right? I'm not saying any disciplines. I'm just saying, you may have never known that that discipline existed. So I don't think that it's required for a student to come in with a major, but I also don't think that you go beyond your sophomore year without declaring a major. So the expectation is in your first 2 years, you will finish the general education curriculum. Now be mindful that some students come in and they finish the gen ed curriculum in 32 credit hours. So that's at the end of their first year. So by the time they start fall semester sophomore year, they've completed their gen ed. So they need to be on the course to finishing a major, right? So that for those students, you want to think more through. Other students who have a little bit more flexibility, in terms of how many general education courses they need to take, they have a little bit more time. By the end of your sophomore year, you want to have declared a major, have taken courses in that major so you can be on time to get out of here in 4 years. So that's just sort of the declaration of major piece. The other piece in terms of changing your major, I would stand by the same thing. By your junior year, whatever major you are in, if your goal is to get out in 4 years. Now, if you want to sit around at Morehouse for a little bit longer and spend quality time and you have unlimited resources that allow you to do that, that's a different conversation. But if you want to get out of here in 4 years, by junior year, you need to be in your major, on track with your major, meeting with your advisor about the question that we asked earlier. What are my next steps as I complete this major? Am I going to graduate school? Am I going to professional school? Am I going to employment? What does that look like? Now, as we mentioned, the gen ed curriculum requires no more than 49 credit hours. So of the 120, you have ample time to explore, to figure out. And that was actually one of our goals in modifying our general education curriculum just shy of 10 years ago. I can't believe it's been that long. Just shy of 10 years ago, we modified and restructured our gen ed so our students could have more time to explore, to sample, to taste, to try, to challenge themselves. Don't do that beyond your junior year. Otherwise, we'll see you a little bit longer than you may have planned. So that's the summary statement. And before I pass this back to Dr. Foster and Mr. Gum, thank you all so much for this opportunity. I look forward to speaking more with you. My information will be on the last slide. I actually have to go to teach another course for our Morehouse online students so they can get some of this sociology joy. But I thank you for the opportunity to be with you. I thank you for your questions, your enthusiasm for what I think is one of the best institutions outside of Spelman on this side of heaven. So thank you for your time. I will leave now, and please let me know if there are any questions. Mr. Gum, Dr. Foster, please let me know, and we'll take care. See you all soon.
Thank you, Dr. Welcher. Awesome. 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 And
So I'll just add to what Dr. Welcher said and say that I think there are a couple of instances where a student, if you're interested in certain kinds of majors, you may want to consider declaring your major when you arrive. And so if you're doing anything in the performing arts, my area is music, we want you as soon as we can get you because there's a lot we need to do with you. The same is true about dance and theater, and art. Those four are critical that if you are considering those, that you start those majors early. There's a very well laid out academic plan for those. And you got to go through a review process, and we want to make sure that you are actually prepared for the upper level expectations. For STEM related majors, you know, the great thing about the STEM majors is that, yes, you need to start early, but part of that's already built into the general education program. Because we want you to, if you're in STEM, we want you to move through math as quickly as you can. You tend to have higher levels of mathematics required in the STEM related majors. And so we just want to make sure you come in and have time to devote to mastering those levels of mathematics, because it's so critical for the higher levels of study in those majors.
Absolutely. And that's a great point, because a lot of the like as you mentioned, a lot of the interest lies in saying, "Oh, I want to declare a major," or "Oh, I want to do this," or "I want to do that." But sometimes we don't realize that we have to take the placement exam coming in, and that placement exam will dictate where you start as well. So, the way my rule of thumb was to get in where you fit in, to identify what it is that you want to do, because everybody has an interest. So even if you can't declare a major, you have an interest, but also keep in mind the classes you actually do well in and the classes you don't, right? Meaning that you might not be high performing. Everybody's going to do well in something, but the ones that you're not very performing well in, those are ones that you want to maybe ask the question, what is better suited or better fitted? So I say that to say this actually moves us into another question, is what concentrations or tracks are available with the biology major? I know that was one that Dr. Welcher kind of could pick up on, but Dr. Foster, I know as you deal with different populations of students, you got students that will come in, declare bio as a major. What do you see in terms of their concentrations, and how do they stay on track?
So I'll share. The Department of Biology works with their majors in terms of their areas of focus. And so there's some flexibility in some of the upper level electives that are required. And so that's usually something that is worked out with the department chair. We have a wonderful office of health professions on the campus. So much like our career development and engagement office, which works with the entire campus with the world of work, we have an office of health professions, which is there strictly to help students understand what they need to be prepared to do in order to pursue a particular health career. And so there's a discussion with the department chair in biology or whatever the major chemistry, or even psychology, some cases sociology, with what kind of experiences that student should have in order to meet benchmarks for the upper level courses and for graduate school or professional work. And I forgot to mention, is it health professions? We have the Public Health Institute
Yeah.
is also there, and it does very much the same kind of work with connecting students to internships and post-baccalaureate work, which help to prepare them for their next step.
Awesome. Very good. And so I'll move into, there's two questions, Dr. Foster, that are kind of admissions driven. So I'll answer both of these.
Okay.
Question says, given the importance of writing, do you prefer applications take the writing portion of the ACT? And that also, you could kind of hit on that too. And then where can I find the contact information for my regional admissions officer? So great question. So first, the admissions office's focus is to assist students to navigate the way to applying to Morehouse College, while also looking at counseling them in their application process. So for us, our biggest focus is going to make sure that you know who we are. If you go to the Morehouse website, under the admissions tab, there'll be an opportunity for you to contact your recruiter. For every single state to every single county in the state of Georgia, there is a representative directly for you, where you get the opportunity to know who your recruiter is. That's how you'll find out who your admission officer is. So just go to our Morehouse website and you'll see these amazing faces, along with the cities and states, as well as the counties that they work to support you in your admissions process? So one, just go to our Morehouse website. The second question was, given the importance of writing, do you prefer applicants take the writing portion of the ACT? The answer to that is yes. For us, the essay, letters of recommendation, your transcript, test scores, all those things matter when we do what is called a holistic review. Now, we are test optional again this year, which means we're not requiring the SAT nor the ACT. But what we are asking for you is for your very best. A lot of this contact and call today was about academic rigor. And for us, we want you to apply with your very best. And so the writing portion of the ACT allows for us to see another avenue, another aspect that we then can evaluate to give you a rubric score or some scoring that best suits why we might consider you for admissions. So again, if you took the ACT, go ahead and do the writing portion as well, right? But your writing will be examined not only just with the ACT writing sample or section you put, but more importantly with your essay, as well as those letters of recommendation that also talk to us about who you are as an individual. And so all of that matters. Dr.
Let me just add, Mr. Gum, this piece around writing is it's so important. And so students, if you're listening to me, parents, if you're listening to me, please know that there is no skirting around the importance of being a good writer. No, we're not saying that you're going to be a writer for the New York Times, but the ability to communicate your ideas and thoughts in a cohesive manner, without lots of grammatical errors or issues with structure of a sentence, the creation of a sentence. Those things at the college level, we expect that after 12 years of K through 12 education, that you're going to come to us with certain skills in place. Yes, we have English 101 and 102 that are required. Those are writing critical courses. But please know that if you are deficient in writing in some way or deficient in reading, address that now. Don't think that you're going to wait till you get here and that somebody here is going to, pull the rabbit out of the hat.
Right.
We're going to do everything we can to help you, but that is something we have to be able to expect that you will work on. That you'll be committed to working on now and for the rest of your life. I still work on my writing, and I'm an older man. And let me just say, so yes, ChatGPT can help you write a paper. That is not the solution. It doesn't help you with being able to effectively communicate, right? It's one thing to see somebody who's written something through ChatGPT, and then you have a conversation with them. And when you have the conversation with them, you're wondering to yourself, is that the same person that wrote me that email? Is that the same person that wrote me that letter? Is that the same person that wrote me that essay? That can't be. Something's wrong here, right? That's why it's so important to be the owner of your own authentic thought, which comes through in your writing. And so if you're committed to the liberal arts tradition, all right, we want to know you. We want to get to know you. We want to bear witness to your transformation authentically.
That humanity. That humanity is so key. We're trying to make strong human beings, right?
That's right.
We want to know who you are. That brings us to an amazing segue directly into something that you're very passionate about. Before I go to that music question, what major opportunities for engineering students? So I'll just take it from the standpoint of students that will go to pre-engineering track and the concentration there. And Dr. Foster, obviously you can elaborate more, but what we tell students is that Morehouse offers a dual degree engineering program where they can take 3 years at Morehouse and then 2 years at an engineering school of their choice. Choices have been listed as Georgia Tech, Michigan State, University of Michigan, North Carolina A&T, Rensselaer Polytechnical Institute, and so on. These opportunities allow for you to graduate from Morehouse and the other institution with 2 degrees in typically 5 to 6 years. I'll let you elaborate more, Dr. Foster, as is more your wheelhouse of how do we best support students that go to engineering track and what do they need to look for when they first come in?
So I will say, how much time do we have? I want to make sure 2 minutes. Okay, all right, keep this brief. All right, so if you want to have a deeper conversation, please feel free to email me at melvin.foster@morehouse.edu. But I'll say to you, we do, I think, an incredible job of supporting our students who are in the dual degree engineering track. We have a dedicated advisor on faculty for that major. And it's so important to realize the 3 years that is in the best case scenario. So if you come to us and, there's just certain things you've not had. So if you come to us and you need to start off with college mathematics versus coming in starting with Cal 1, well, that's a different scenario for you, right? So you're going to have more time because you've got to get to a certain level to get through the curriculum. The same is true about the engineering courses, the foundational courses. If there are issues there, what's really critical, you heard me say about the STEM majors. Well, this is one of those majors that requires a lot of math. And so you might not think that, but yes, if you are someone who's a creative and you're thinking, I want to be an engineer because I have to create things, well, there's math involved in creating things, physical things, right? Not just imagining, but the physical structures. And so you've got to have a great understanding of the mathematics that go into solving those problems and thinking about structural requirements. The institutions, and so the program itself is led by our counterpart at the Atlanta University Center. Dr. Christopher Ellis is over that program, and he manages all of our relationships for the memorandum of understanding with the other institutions that our students transition to. The beautiful thing is that once you complete the requirements at the host institution, wherever you end up, you then will receive 2 bachelor's degrees. All right, that's 2 bachelor's degrees in ideally only 5 years. And one is from Morehouse and one is from the other institution. So yeah, it's a great program. We do some incredible things for those students. Right now, I think Dr. Red, who is the division dean for STEM, who's also physics is his discipline. I think there's a requirement for all the students in the program to present at a national conference on research they've been doing. And so there is this ongoing engagement in research as well as matriculation through the program. So the student who gets through the program is well prepared for the second stretch of their academic career.
Absolutely. Great. And to the final question before we let you go, dear sir, is a question that I think is dear to your heart of music. And so someone's asking, how can I learn about auditioning for Morehouse's music department, such as ensembles, glee clubs, and so forth?
Email me. You can email the music department. You can go to our website and find Dr. David Morrow, who is our department chair. He is more than happy to speak with you about the requirements of the major and our expectations for auditions, whether it be for voice or any other instruments. Yeah. Yeah, we would love to have you.
Awesome. 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 Well, that concludes our amazing session. Dr. Foster, just parting words before we go. Anything that you want to say to the audience, the students, the parents, the counselors, the coaches that are on this call, as we depart with them?
I'll just say this is a critical time in our nation's history. It is a critical time for Black men in our country. It is a critical time for education in our country. If we want to change tomorrow. We have to do the work today. The work of changing the outcomes for Black families starts today at Morehouse. All right, submit your application. Become a Morehouse man. Learn how to change the world.
Love that. I love that. So, as we always like to say, there's an air of expectancy at Morehouse College, right? The tragedy lies not in reaching your goal. The tragedy lies in having no goals to reach for. Not failure, but low aim is sin. We are super excited that you all came on this call. There's so much in store at Morehouse College. We want you to just get excited. Think about the amazing things we have. Our open house. Don't forget about our open house. It is going to be in the month of October. You saw the flyer. We will drop some links in the chat. Get engaged with us. Remind yourself to do the work necessary so that you will know that you have made an informed decision to choose Morehouse College as your institution of choice. Thank you all so very much for having us, and you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you for staying on, and we look forward to seeing you in the near future. Thanks.
Ciao.